All right, welcome to Talk.dance. I'm Kelly. This is David, and we're talking about everything about dance. And today we want to get into how to help cultivate a dance scene, or add to it, or help it grow, or support it. Right?
That's really
Um,
important.
yeah, it's really important, right?
I'm very, very passionate on this topic. We're both dance enthusiasts. I think
Hmm.
most people listening to this podcast are listening to it because they're a dance enthusiast.
Hmm.
And, in order to have places to dance, you need a vibrant community. And I think it's up to everyone in the community to kind of think about small ways in which they can contribute to keep that community going. Right.
Yeah, and no way is too small. Like some people think, oh well, I don't have an Instagram, so I can't post about it, so there's no point. And it's like that's not true. That's just one minute way you can help the scene out. There's so many different ways. Some people just by showing up and dancing with different people, you're helping the scene. You know what I mean? There's just so many different ways, right? We were just talking about new people. And if you don't in any man, I'm trying to backtrack because we were talking so much, right? Before we started recording. So let's backtrack a little bit. So dancing is still a business at the end of the day, right? Because if it's at a bar, the bar has to make money to stay open, right? If it's at a hall, the hall has to pay the electricity. Like they may not need to make $1 million, but they have to make enough to cover the cost. So if you go out dancing, then you have to support, right? You got to pay the cover. You got to do that, and that in turn helps keep it going. But with any business, it's always the new people that keeps giving it life. You need the new people.
Right, right. So, think about it. If you enjoy going out dancing, when if you're working at a day job, if you're participating in other communities, you know, tell tell some people about what you're doing, right? Maybe invite some people out. Think, hey, I go out, I go to this tango or I go swing dancing every week. Why don't you come along and I'll pick you up, I'll take you, or something like that, right? You get a sense that sometimes people are looking for some new activity in their life,
Mm-hmm.
and just bringing new people into that community kind of is feeding the pipeline to keep these things going, right? Because otherwise, just through attrition, people move away, things
Yep.
happen, right? We don't want to just declining community. We want new people coming in all the time.
All the time. It's new energy. It's excitement, right? It's that new puppy dog excitement that helps keep the scene going. Because I I've been dancing like 20 years now. So if it was me and the same people for 20 years every week with no new people, we'd probably stay an hour and then maybe not and then leave. Like it wouldn't be, because we'd have talked about everything we needed to talk about. We'd have danced everything.
Right. And that's if you're lucky enough that there's still a venue willing to put on an event with declining numbers.
Yep.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's very important that we are bringing people into the scene. And, you mentioned posting to Instagram and stuff. And that's certainly one thing you can do, like just share the fact that you're going to an event on Facebook or social media, or just,
Hmm.
text some of your friends, just word of mouth, right? Talk to people in person.
Hmm.
That's always great. If you're at an event and there's a new person there, right? Just keep in mind we were all beginners at one point as well,
Yeah.
and just treating them with kindness, right? So you don't want that someone comes for the first time, they have a kind of a lousy experience, say, why do I want to
Uh,
go back there again, right? Why do I want to subject myself to that,
yeah.
right? I think it's a lot of fun. I find a level of joy taking someone who shows up at an event, and I'll go over and they say, look, I just came with my friend, I don't know anything. I said, oh, don't, no problem. I said, if you don't mind, we can go on the floor, we'll do something really simple, and we'll do like the simplest step. And I can
Yep.
see that, maybe they get a little bit confused and stuff, but at the same time, you see that smile come on their face, and they're kind of enjoying the fact that they're having a great time. And if you might do like just one or two steps for a whole dance,
Yeah. And
and it
sometimes not
doesn't
even that.
matter.
If they're brand new, you're doing the sway side to side all night.
Right,
It
right,
doesn't matter
right,
what song's playing, right? Yeah.
right.
And that's fine.
Yeah, typically in most dances, like I get joy about doing something a little bit more advanced and getting, if it's a travel dance, saying flight across the floor,
Hmm.
or, leading something kind of intricate. But with a new person, there's a kind of a very different kind of joy where it's really about what can I do to make this an enjoyable experience for them, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what I'm doing, really, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important. Think about, are there ways you can help out with just offering people an opportunity to get there? Like I know in some of the events I go to, there are some um, really great dancers that are a little bit older, and sometimes they don't feel comfortable driving at night,
Right.
or maybe it's a longer distance. And so I know there's a couple groups where you see like a carload come with them, and I think that's so great, right?
Yeah, we used to do that when I was in the dance scene in Detroit, right? Because no one, especially after dark back in that time, you didn't want to drive in Detroit. So we would all carpool up, and there'd be just a clown car of people show up to the event, and we'd all just pile out of it. But it made it fun. We all got to talk about dance on the way there, and we all were together when we left. So carpooling totally is a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that I do on occasion is you can help the venue out if you've got time. You show up early, maybe help them set up, help them
Hmm.
tear down afterwards, right? You don't have to feel
Hmm.
compelled you do it all the time, but sometimes they really appreciate that, right? Just an extra hand to, move some
I
tables or whatnot.
Yeah, I get such in a habit of doing that that I don't even realize I'm doing it. If I travel somewhere new, it's just so ingrained in me that if I'm there all night and they're done and they're not playing music, anything, I'll be like, okay, can I help? I'll just start folding up the chairs or I'll start helping. It's just automatic for me because I've worked and danced for so long and they really appreciate it. Even if you move one chair, right? Like just one, it's nothing. They totally appreciate it. But also, you don't have to necessarily break down or set up. That's one thing you can do if you want. But say I don't get a chance to go early and set up, or say I don't have time to stay late. One thing I like to do is if there's people I haven't seen in a while, there's people that I want to see, I will message them, like my friends, and be like, "Are you going?" And I'll message them beforehand. Like I'll create my own buzz, not about me, but my own excitement about going and dancing with my friends that I haven't seen all week. So even something little like that, be like, "Hey, you going? Are you going? I can't wait to go." That's going to get people in the door and help boost it.
Yeah. So, we talked about a little bit about the Find.dance app that I'm being involved in building. One of the things we did just on that point is for iPhone users, we built in some iMessage features. So there's all these like great iMessage stickers and stuff. So it's
Ooh.
kind of cool. You can like drop in a sticker saying going here. You can actually drop in a link to an event you're following and put it in like a group chat saying, hey, who wants to go here tonight? Right. And that kind of
Oh,
thing. It's
that's
been kind
really
of fun.
cool.
Yeah. So there's some like little animated stickers and stuff you can put in. It's kind of fun. So yeah, I felt compelled to mention that. Um,
No, that's cool. That's cool. Uh, Other ways, I was going to talk about this, and then the conversation flows so naturally. I didn't want to take it back, but some places have what they call like dance ambassadors. We were talking about new people, right? And the dance ambassadors make sure they go and they dance with the new people. Guy, girl, lead, follow, whatever, doesn't matter, right? But they try to make sure that the new people dance. Sometimes I don't necessarily want to be on the clock when I go out social dancing, but I always want to make sure people have fun. So while I don't necessarily sign up all the time to be a dance ambassador, I still try to dance with at least a handful of new people every night. You know what I mean?
right,
So there's so many different ways for the new people.
right. Along the lines of supporting an event, I just encourage everyone, don't be the person to show up and want to haggle about the price. I
Oh,
don't see this very often, but I have seen it where someone will show up and say, well, but it's already been going on for an hour.
yeah. They're
Or
like,
or
enough.
I'm only gonna stay for an hour.
Ah,
Like, and
ah,
you know, there's I find all of the places I go to are very reasonably priced. Like,
yeah.
okay, so it's $15. It's like the cost of fast food, right? Just pay it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get that. And I think that just comes down to maybe some people haggle like that in life, right? Maybe that's in their DNA. I'm not sure, but I don't see it very often either, but when I do, I feel the same way. Just pay the cover, right? And in that vein, if you go to an event or you go to a ballroom and it's only a cover, but there's no other charges, so say it's a studio, then you're good to go, right? But if you go to like a bar, the bar needs to make money. You don't have to drink alcohol, but get a soda, get a pop, maybe get appetizers, right? Just get something, spend a couple of bucks at the bar so the bar can make enough money to stay open.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, I'll buy other people drinks. Like when I go, I'll be like, "Hey, are you thirsty?" "Oh, well, no, I'm not drinking tonight." "Oh, but you've been dancing 3 songs in a row. You could use a water," and I'll buy a bottle of water. Like just so the bar can make some money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's really important. It really comes down to the effort. If the effort is exceeding the benefit for whoever's running the event, right? The event's not going to last.
Right.
Right. If it's just too much of a hassle because it's too much work, or they're getting too much grief, right, in terms of some of the things
Yep.
we're talking about, or they're just not able to make enough money, right? It's costing them more than they're making, right? Who wants to continue with that, right? So
Yeah.
anything you can do to contribute to the community to bring more people out, right? To spend a little bit of money at the event if you can, to help ease some of the burden.
Right. And
That's all those things are kind of important to keep these events going, because sometimes I hear about, oh, there used to be this great event and someone complains, I don't know why it's not going on anymore, and then you stop and think, well, geez, maybe everyone should have done a little bit more, right?
right.
If we want to
Right.
enjoy
We
these
could have
events,
done our
we all have
part.
to.
And again, like I'm a fan of the simple little stuff because I'm loud and I'm obnoxious. So most things I do is really over the top, right? But I'm a super fan of the little things. So if I go to multiple dance spots, I'll get to know the organizers and I'll have them give me flyers. And I'll make sure the other places are cool because a lot of places will allow flyers to be put up because they want to cultivate other dances as well on different nights because the scene grows. Like you said before about the rising tide, it raises all the boats, right? So something simple as just take flyers from one event and put it down at another. Like, and that's it. That's helping. Like it's little things like that.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah.
So everyone, do the right thing.
Dude, do the right thing. I like it. It's like Spike Lee right now.
Yes. So today, we wanted to talk a little bit about recognition dances. So typically they're like often birthday dances, or sometimes it's a farewell dance at an event because someone's leaving a city or something like that. But before we get into that, Kelly, how can people find us?
You can find us. You can check us out at Talk.dance, right? Put that in the URL bar and we'll pop right up. You can find us on Spotify, on iTunes. And if I am to be correct, we even have a YouTube channel.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Woo-hoo.
So yeah, you can see us in video form on YouTube.
I know, this
You can
pretty
press
face.
podcast player and listen to us on your commute, or as you're doing other things. That's cool as well. So thank you for that. So yeah, recognition events. So I see these at a lot of venues, and they generally can be a lot of fun, right? It's kind of nice to be recognized, have that moment in the sun. I've seen them done different ways.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes a lot of venues they'll break for some kind of announcement anyway, and maybe they'll do it right after that, and they'll announce it's Billy Bob's birthday. Billy Bob would like to do a salsa with everyone or something like that.
Yeah.
In some cases, I see it's very common. They'll just ask people to queue up. Sometimes they form a circle. What do you see in Chicago?
It really all depends on the dance, right? It all depends on the night. And it depends on the purpose. If it's like, I'm doing a lot of swing now, right? So in swing, in East Coast or Lindy, they'll make a circle. So let's say it's a birthday dance, and they'll make a circle, and whoever's birthday is, depending on how often they do it. Sometimes they'll only do once a month. Me personally, I think these dances are awesome. I would do it every week if there was someone with a birthday, because it just creates a lot of energy. It's a lot of fun. So then they would make a circle and whoever's birthday would go in, and then you would come in and steal and switch in the dance, right? In a birthday jam. So, but as far as the other dances like salsa or Argentine tango or anything, I don't really, it's been so long, I don't really know what they do for those dances.
Right. So I've seen it. It's common that you might have a cue, or sometimes it's not quite so organized, but people just kind of step up, up in a tango. So, which actually brings me to something like, sometimes I've seen someone kind of tends to like hog the person a little bit, right? They've stepped up and now they're going like for a minute, right? And so typically I think what's appropriate is, take 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, right? You'll see if there's someone there waiting to step in, give them the opportunity to cut in, right? Because we want this person to enjoy themselves. On the flip side, if there's no one ready to cut in, don't abandon the person, because you want to make them feel bad, right?
Good luck. There's nothing worse than having a birthday jam and being out there and then being left and no one's coming in. You're like,
what's it?
All right, I'll just, yeah.
Well, and if you're at an event, why not participate, right? Even if you're kind of new, it doesn't matter. Like, just take your, and if you're not comfortable about how to cut in exactly, don't sweat it. Like, just step up and just take a moment and just start. That's okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, people, when they get more experience, they can cut in without actually missing a beat, and it really flows. But if you're not comfortable doing that, it's okay.
Yeah, that's not the point of the birthday jam, right? Or
Exactly.
the recognition dance. The point isn't to see how smooth you are coming in and out. The point is to celebrate them with dance. It is totally okay to walk out there and just put your hands out like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then the lead will give you the hands, or the follow will give you the hands. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be brain surgery. We want everyone. It's a congratulatory dance. It's not a show-off dance, right? So it's like, get on out there. That's the one thing I see most of all. Back in the day when people would be, learning stuff, you'd see them trying to mess with each other a little bit. Like, you've got to steal the person away from me if they knew each other, like jabbing at each other. Like, you would see that back in the day, but in a fun way. You don't see that too much anymore. But one thing I see most now is people afraid to go out. Like, if it's their first night, or if they've only been coming a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months, like they're like, I'm not going out there. Like, so I'll try to get out there first and dance with everyone. And then I'll try to work the circle and encourage people to go out there, even if you don't know how to dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, not everyone feels comfortable doing everything. And so I think it's appropriate if it's like your friend's birthday or something, don't try and spring it on them. Like, don't go to the organizer and say, it's Billy Bob's birthday, let's announce a birthday dance for her for him without asking Billy Bob first, right? Billy Bob
I will
really
say
might not feel comfortable, right?
Well, I'll say this: everyone's different. So I would say know your friend, because any of my friends, a lot of times I get no warning. So if we go somewhere and there's any type of dancing, I'm constantly thrown in there, right? Or if it's my birthday, honestly, this past time, I forgot it was my birthday. I'm not even lying. Like, somebody was like, time for a birthday jam, and I'm announcing, and I'm like, okay, so-and-so, and everyone, and my friends are looking at me like, are you going to go out there? And I'm like, why am I going out there? And they're like, dude, your birthday was yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot. Like, so I think
I'll need to remind you next time.
Yeah, so exactly.
We recently found out that Kelly and I have the same birthday. Isn't that crazy?
This is the craziest thing ever, man.
That is crazy.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, find out if your friend is shy or not shy. Some people who aren't shy, you don't even get a chance to say it's your birthday, because they'll walk in being like, it's my birthday. You know what I mean? They'll take care of that for you, right? But yeah, try not to throw your friends under the bus.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's important. And if you're the organizer for an event or something, it's always, I think, appropriate to just, if someone else comes and says it's so and so's birthday, say, great, I'll go check with them, and it's an opportunity to find out, what kind of dance they like doing. If it's a venue that's having like multiple styles of events, do they have a favorite song,
Right.
or do they even feel comfortable? Like, maybe they'll just say, yeah, I think I'd be interested, but I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and they can ease them into it in some way, right?
Yeah.
Like how this will play out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the most common recognition. I like that you call it recognition dancing. Like, I think that's a great general name for it because it encompasses everything. It's really cool. The most common one I see is the birthday one, right?
Right.
That's the most common one I see. But sometimes there hasn't been a birthday in a while. That sort of energy, it gets, because sometimes maybe people are sitting too much and it gets everyone up and it gets everyone. So you could do, it doesn't even have to be a congratulatory one. It could be what we call a snowball dance. We just would get like the instructors and they would start the dance, and then somebody would yell snowball and they would go find two people or go find new
Mhm.
partners, and then you'd yell snowball and they'd find new partners. It's just a great way to build everyone on the floor. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So there's nothing, you're not celebrating anything necessarily with a snowball dance, but it's getting everyone on the floor.
Yeah, I like those as well. We often have these sometimes mixer events, they call them too, where
Yeah, 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 yeah,
line up and yeah, it's great. It's a nice way of meeting people and getting circulation, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think that's really good.
Yeah, and I think they're important. So if you haven't had one in a while, make something up. But if you have them every week, then you can start being choosy, right? So
Right.
if you have a birthday every week, then all right, we're already handling it. It's as good. But say we haven't had one in a while. Well, maybe there was an event. Maybe somebody went to an event. Okay, whoever went to such and such event, come on out to the middle of the floor, circle around, and then turn that into a snowball dance. You know what I mean? Like any reason to get people out. I think some people don't understand how much energy and excitement that just that little recognition dance or that jam circle, so to speak, really brings to an event.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's birthdays are common for like recognition events.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's someone's moving away, either
Yeah.
permanently, they're being relocated in their job, or maybe temporarily they're in the military and they're going on a deployment or something.
Mhm.
Whatever the case might be. I think it's really nice. So if you're aware of something, you can approach the event organizer early in the night, or maybe even beforehand, like text them or send them an email, let them know. Like, don't spring it on the event organizer at the last minute either. Like, oh,
Right.
can we do a birthday? But we're leaving in half an hour.
Yeah. Right. We'll be like, all right,
Right?
we'll
That's a little
try
bit
to get it
unfair,
in.
right? Give them an opportunity so they can kind of plan it into the flow of the evening. And if there's a favorite song, they know what that is. They can be completely aware of, are you a leader or a follower, or do you like to do both? One of the coolest things I saw recently, a friend of mine, her name's Lourdes Cruz, and her son was going off to college. This kid can really dance. Now, he grew up with mom's a dance instructor, right? So
Right.
he's so smooth. His name is Daniel. And so they had an event because he's going off to college, right? He just graduated from high school. He's going to be going off to college. And the mom put him on the spot a little bit and said, okay, we're going to have this dance. And says, I want two lines, leaders and followers. And the kid just kept like
Ooh.
switching, like from one to the other, and it was so smooth. It was
Oh,
really, really cool.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was really, really, really neat. But so that can be a lot of fun, right? If it's important to know, what does this person want to dance? Do
Hmm.
they what are they comfortable with? What do they enjoy? Because as you said, it's about them. It's what's celebrating them,
Yep.
right? Yeah, and then just be respectful of the fact that it is them. So don't try to throw stuff at them that is going to be beyond them, right? It's not your opportunity to show
uh,
off, right? It's your
uh,
opportunity to make them feel good and celebrate them.
there was this many years ago. I haven't run into this person in a while. I'm not even going to say lead follow boy girl. I'm not even going to say that, but they would try to show off every time, like it was a birthday jam or it was whatever. They would try to do the craziest stuff, and we as a scene is just like, really, like really right now, like right now is the time you want to pull that, like all right. So anytime it was somebody's birthday or something, we always hope that that person might not come out that night. Is I mean, you get one in every group, but don't be that person. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're a lot of fun when you see them participate. If you know that an opportunity to have something to celebrate, make sure you communicate with the event organizer. Try, as you said, if it's your friend, maybe know your friend, right? Sometimes there's an opportunity to do other things as well, like, hey, if it's your birthday and you maybe you're new to a community, you can do something kind of cool, like bring a cake. And so hey, I'm going to bring a cake and I'm going to share it
Yes.
with everyone, right? It's kind of
Yes.
a way to introduce yourself to the community, right? If
It's I don't know what it is, but it's when you walk into your dance event or your regular night or whatever, the scene, and there's baked goods, like I'm personally in a better mood. Like instantly. I'm like, what? Cupcakes? A cake? What? Like
you
I
and me
love it.
both.
It's great.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I know about you, you're a big swing fanatic.
Oh, completely.
True?
Completely. Yes.
Yeah, a swing nut, a swing
Yes.
fanatic. One thing I hear swing fanatics talk about is whether a piece of music swings or not, or swung timing, and
Ooh,
expressions like that.
yeah.
And sometimes I'm not really sure I know what they're talking about. And I've heard other people say I have no idea. And sometimes I think I
Uh-huh.
know what they're talking about. Sometimes I'm start convincing myself that maybe I don't. Can you
Okay.
explain
Yes. Let me
to
break it
me
down.
and our lovely audience?
And the lovely audience. And the great thing is right now you all get to be part of the craziest discussion. I won't say argument, but I'll say discussion right now that's happening on West Coast Swing. It's literally like flat versus round earthers. Like it is insane that like people are dividing like friendships. Like it's nuts right now. I'm stuttering. It's so nuts. So let's start first of all. Before we even talk about a style of swing, West Coast is where it's prevalent right now because of the music. We'll get to that. Let's start in the beginning, right? Let's start with Lindy Hop or Jitterbug or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Back then, the reason they called it Lindy Hop was because no one called it swing. No one ever called it swing dancing. They just danced to music that swung. They said, oh, this song swings. Do you want to dance? It's not until later years that we go back and we have to analyze everything that we call it swing, right? And then after World War II, the troops went over to Europe and they came back and they moved all around the country and all around the world. And so that Lindy Hop kind of sort of basic got interpreted in so many different ways. Now you have so many different forms of swing, right? Now, what does that mean, swing? So if we have, say, 3 beats, let's just say a triplet, ba-bam, right? We've got 3 beats, 1 and 2. What's going to happen is they're going to swing one way or another. 1 2, or 1 2. And now you get that boom, da-da, or da-da-da. Now the tempo is swinging one way or another. And that's what they mean when this swings, right? So if you listen to old big band, it's got swing in it. Even if it's just the hi-hat, right? That's swinging on the hi-hat. That's swinging the notes back and forth, right?
Nice.
And then even in rock and roll, you're still getting a little bit of the swing, right? But then once rock and roll got in, swing started coming out of the music, right? Think of it like this. Think of a good blues riff, right? Even blues nowadays still swings. It's slower, but it still swings. Versus you start looking at rock and roll 50s into the 60s, less swing, more rock, into the 80s and the hair band, right? AC/DC didn't swing at all. There's no swing in AC/DC. Paul Rudd, the drummer, was a 2/4 drummer. He didn't swing anything. It was right on the beat, right? So this now gets us into the 90s and into the 2000s and gets us into modern music, modern pop music. And this is where we get into West Coast swing, because West Coast swing has always been about the modern pop music, whatever genre, whatever decade. So now the modern pop music is more contemporary. There's no swing in modern music. It's sometimes there's not even counts. Sometimes it's just it's a hold of a note through a phrase, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are arguing that modern music or modern swing doesn't swing anymore because there's no triples, there's no swung rhythm, right? And that's what people are talking about when they talk about swing rhythm or swinging your triplets or swinging your movement, right?
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
The easiest way I can have people find it is if you know samba music, right? Ed Sheeran, Shape of You, anything like that. If you listen to that beat, boom, da da, boom, da da, that is a swung triplet because it's closer to the back end, right?
That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Right. Yeah. At a very different kind of tempo, but the same concept.
Completely.
Right.
I would not swing dance to it. It would not feel right. But
You
if
might
you're
look like a
looking at
fool,
three
but yes.
notes and how to swing them, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful example,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And in fact, a lot of times, if I'm teaching people, because we teach swing 1 and 2, or 1, 2, right? We teach it very non-swung because you got to get it in your muscle memory. But if you listen to the music you're swinging to, it swings. So if I'm dancing a 1 and 2 to say Benny Goodman, it's not going to feel right because I'm not putting the swing in my step. So once people get comfortable with swing, I then will put on a samba that's slower and make them swing the triple. Boom, da da, doom, da da, doom, da da. And then I'll have them dance again to that swing music, and you'll notice a different feel in your dancing, in your groove. You'll start to swing it now.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you for that wisdom, Kelly.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Smarter now.
No. In every form of swing, something swings, right? West Coast, before modern music, a lot of times it would sway up top like a palm tree, right? Lindy Hop was so fast and crazy, not much could swing except for the feet, which is why it was mostly footwork or aerials. You personally were swinging, right? East Coast swing, ballroom, or even single swing swings the hips, right? It's more Latin. Carolina Shag swings the knees and it swings in and out. There's every form of swing. If there's swing in the title, something in the dance is supposed to swing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Today, we're going to talk about some dance etiquette.
Yes. Now, we've previously spoken on some etiquette about how to ask someone to dance and the proper way to do that to, keep people's emotions in check and so forth.
Right.
But I alluded to the fact that at a milonga or a tango party, if you will, there's a different etiquette for that. And we thought we'd talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah, I think that's great because once I learned about this, it kind of blew my mind. And I was like, holy cow, there's a lot of steps involved. So even if you're polite, let's go with, I don't want to generalize, but let's just say American style versus Argentine style. That way we can keep
concept of what we're talking about. So if I'm dancing or I'm asking American style, I want to be polite. I want to offer my hand, right? That type of thing. That would be one of the biggest faux pas ever in Argentine, right? In Argentine tango or at a milonga. So David, walk us through these steps so that way we don't look like weirdos when we're at a milonga.
Right. So, as a leader, and it is very much up to the leader to ask at a milonga. It's very traditional. What you want to do is position yourself somewhere in the room where you have line of sight with the person you'd like to ask. You do not actually approach them right into their vicinity, but you just put yourself in line of sight and you make eye contact from across the floor. Now, you might not be successful in making eye contact right away, which is fine. So just be patient and, maybe move yourself. And if you're not making eye contact with that person, you can always move on. But
okay,
the idea is if the follower sees your eye contact, if they are receptive, they will make it clear that to you that they've made eye contact with you, and will often just give a small nod, which is now your permission to approach and offer your hand.
That is
And
wonderful. That's much like, I don't want to say dating, but kind of dating, right? Kind of introducing yourself to new people. So we've made the eye contact. They've given us the nod. What's next?
Yeah, now you've now got permission, and you can just kind of approach, and you don't have to go all the way up to them, but you can approach and they will come up on the floor and join you usually.
Wow.
Now, if they care not to dance for whatever reason, right? And people have all kinds of good reasons not wanting to dance.
No judgment.
Right. The follower will simply make it clear that they've seen your eye contact, and then they will just simply turn away.
And
I think the idea here is that it spares you from the embarrassment of having walked up, asked to dance, maybe within earshot of those around, and being turned down, right? So it's done in such a way that it's very likely that no one else will have noticed this interaction.
Wow. Yeah, that's I like that actually. I think if you know that, you can totally apply that to American style dancing, so to speak. I don't even know if that fits, but that's just a differentiation, between the different dance styles. So if I'm out swing dancing, I think it would be awesome to make eye contact with a partner before I even go up and offer my hand. I think this is great. I think next time I go out dancing, I want to try this. You know what I mean?
It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this though. Sometimes, you don't get a chance because they're walking away or whatever, but that can be a whole different discussion. I really like this. I'm really excited to put this into play next time I go out dancing.
Right.
So
now you did mention that, it's good to know how to do this so you don't look like a buffoon. I have seen people at milongas who use the traditional approach because they just don't know.
Yeah, I would never.
Guys, if you ever do that, it's okay, right?
Okay.
Yeah, people understand we were all beginners at one time, but if you want to know the correct way to do it, this is how you do it at a milonga.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, Dave. Thanks so much for breaking it down for us. This is Talk.dance. Once again, I'm Kelly Palmer. You can find me at kellypalmer.com. And David, where can we find out about you and how do we contact this podcast?
You can find me on Talk.dance, David at Talk.dance, or if you want to reach us generally, info at Talk.dance. And until next time, keep dancing.